We need to talk about that friend who's always trying too hard. The one who's available for everyone, but never gets invited to literally anything. If you've ever wondered why everybody else is going someplace and everyone's forgetting about you, this podcast episode might be what you need to listen to. Welcome to Wedding Hunter Bridesmaid, a podcast where real-life drama meets unfiltered advice. I'm Jen Glantz, the founder of Bridesmaid for Hire and the author of Finally the Bride. Every episode, a new caller will share their honest and raw dilemma on friendship, love, weddings, and so much more. An expert and I will give advice, and you can chime in too with what you think they should do. Will they listen? Well, we'll soon find out. And P.S., 1-800-Bridesmaid is a Love Stories by David's podcast. Joining me today is Lucie Beatrix. She's a model, ultrarunner, and the host of the Lucie Beatrix Podcast. Welcome to the show, Lucie.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen.
I am so excited to talk to you, and I want to bring it back to how we first met. So the pandemic is going on, and we were so bored at home that my then boyfriend, Adam, was on Twitter, and he comes across a post about this woman running 100+ miles or whatever it is, I want you to clarify, around the local track. This woman's just running circles around a track for literally like a day. And he's like, you have to see this. And I'm like, who is this person? I have to meet her. And at the time I had another podcast and I was like, I need to talk to this Lucie person. And very long story short, I talked to Lucie and then I was inspired to run. So I hired Lucie as my own running coach. And it was during that time that I got to know so much about you. So take us back to time. How many miles were you running?
Oh, man. So yes, that was me. That was the crazy woman on the local track in Brooklyn. I was attempting to run 100 miles straight. And I made it to about 76 miles before I pulled the plug. It took me 17 hours. And I was like, okay, enough's enough. I was crawling by the end of it. But yeah, that was just one of those random pandemic stunts that I had nothing better to do than go run around on a 400-meter track for 76 miles straight.
So you literally ran 17 hours straight for all these miles. Did you take a break at all? Like, what were you doing?
So I definitely had to stop to go to the bathroom and fuel, drink some pickle juice, eat some bananas. So it was running, and then I would have to put stuff in my body to actually keep going. But by the end of it, like I said, I was literally crawling. So I was on my hands and my knees, and yeah, it was an experiment. I don't know if I would try to do something like that again, but it definitely set the tone for how the rest of the pandemic was going to go, where I got even more into running, but focused on more of the traditional distances and working on my speed and that kind of stuff.
So physically, how do you run 76 miles?
It's literally the thing that I think about with that is that it's just a head game. You just get into a zone, you say, this is what I'm doing until I can't do it anymore. And yeah, it's a mental state.
It's crazy because before I met Lucie, I was like, I could run a mile, but at the end of the mile, I'm going to just die. And Lucie's like, we're going to get you way further. We're going to get you to 10, 13. And I did, over the course of literally a month, Lucie got me from 1 to 10, and I was so addicted to running. At 10 miles, I'm like, I could run forever. So I get it. But the best part about running with you was the conversations we had. And at that time, I don't know if I was engaged yet. I definitely wasn't married. And you were also just figuring out your love life as well. Mm-hmm. You are now, since then, married.
Yes.
What has happened in between the early days of the pandemic and now? What kind of dating struggles did you go through?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I am the poster child for doing everything wrong.
No, but you make you make mistakes that we all can learn from. So they're good. They're good.
Yeah. I mean, I have definitely had my highs and lows with dating. I have had just, New York City, living in New York City in my 30s, having all these years to experiment with the different apps and meeting people at different parties I was at in all the different phases of my life. I've learned what works and what doesn't work through trial and error. But I will say that the dating app scene was so intimidating. But that was the thing that ended up introducing me to my husband now.
No way. Why was it intimidating for you?
For me, it was intimidating because I just felt like putting myself in such a condensed little, 3 sentences of who are you and a few photos didn't really tell the whole story. And so it was really hard to encapsulate myself in a profile. But luckily what I put resonated with the man that I ended up marrying, and the rest is history. So I think that through all the highs and lows, I definitely learned what I didn't want so that when I saw the thing that I did want, it was very clear.
I remember us talking about like marriage and wanting kids, and it was something that we both wanted back then. How did you know, okay, I'm dating the wrong person, I have to get out of this relationship to find the right one?
I think that it always went back to what are my truths, what make me feel the happiest, where do I feel the most safe when I'm undone, when I'm not like the model or the runner or all the different identities and egos that come with those things. When I'm in my pajamas or wearing no makeup at the end of a day, washing my face, who do I feel comfortable around? And I realized with a lot of different relationships, I didn't feel comfortable around a lot of people. Like I always wanted to put on a face of somebody else that I felt like they wanted me to be. But then when I met my now husband, Hamid, I could be that person. I could just be the person who didn't have the running identity, the model identity. He didn't have any kind of preconceived notion of who I was supposed to be. I could just be myself.
So when you were in the wrong ones, how did you know it was wrong? How did it feel wrong? Was it like a body reaction, a mental reaction?
It was the kind of thing where I realized there were so many times when it would get to the end of a crazy work week, or it'd be like a Friday night, and instead of that exhausted wanting to like watch a show with a partner, I just wanted to be alone. And so I would find myself canceling plans with the people that I'd be dating and just not want to hang out with them. And I'm like, that's because I need to recharge and these people aren't giving me energy. They're taking the energy away from me.
Wow, that's so fascinating, because I feel like sometimes when we're in the wrong relationships, it's so hard to see that. And we're like, okay, maybe I'm just having an off week, or maybe I'm just not feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
When you met your now husband, what was those early phases like where you were like, something's different here?
Well, I think it was partially because I had left New York City. I was briefly living in Austin. I was trying something new out because I'd lived in New York for 15 plus years. And I wanted to try something new. So I'm living in Austin, and I was only there for a couple weeks before I downloaded Hinge, met with Hamid. We had a coffee date, and he saw this version of me that I think it was just the environment that I was in, that it was just the most authentic, stripped down version of myself. And the way we would just talk about like topics or like things that were going on in the world that had nothing to do with like who I am and where I've been. It was more of like, how do we both see the world, and do we relate on these common denominators of how we like see things? So I feel like it was just like being in such a different environment out of New York that like helped me find the right person.
Was it hard? Because I feel like for so much of your life, especially when you were a teenager, you became a model at such an early age. You lived like this wild model life. That was probably your whole identity. And then you became this like crazy ultra runner who everyone like looked up to because you did crazy things. And that was your whole identity. How did you eventually kind of put those things a little bit to the side and figure out, well, who is Lucie without these like mega things attached to your name?
That's such a great question. And I think it just goes back to running away from everything that I knew, like just starting over in a completely new city. Like I went to Austin just like, you know what? I just want to be somebody else. Like I just want to like start over and have nothing that like I'm attached to. Yeah. I didn't even have a place to live. I was just like, I'm just gonna like see what this is like running on a trail. And I think it just helped me kind of like recalibrate and then recognize what it is about New York City that I loved and missed. Like I needed to miss New York and also see who I can be outside of New York. Because it's just like such a crazy city where everybody here is working so hard towards these careers like modeling and the running, and that I feel like I just needed to get away from that kind of like mindset for a little bit.
So who'd you figure out that you are?
That's a great question. I feel like I figured out that I'm a people person, that I am so fascinated and inspired by people. Yeah. And like that's what gives me energy. That's what gives me life, is just like learning about people and like finding out what works for somebody else and finding out what people's stories are and telling those stories. So, yeah.
No, it's kind of amazing because I feel like I've known you through like all these different iterations of yourself. Like when I first met you, you were like kind of stopping the modeling, doing the running, and now you're the same person, but you're like a different version of you as well. What has married life been?
Oh, it's been amazing. So we eloped secretly a year ago.
This is amazing.
Which was like kind of on a whim. Like we just kind of realized like we want to be married, so let's just do it. And so we went to City Hall. I was wearing my running clothes. He was wearing like basketball shorts. Yeah. It wasn't like, it was like, what is it called? Like a clerk's office. So it wasn't the kind where they're like doing any kind of ceremony. It was just like, you kind of just sign some papers.
Which is what marriage is, signing papers.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we woke up, like went into that, got some coffee, and I was just like so excited and relieved to just be married. Like the process of being married for me was just the end goal of like, we get to be together for the rest of our lives. And so that was the focus. So it was like everything that like got us to that point was just like kind of fun. And so then once we officially became husband and wife, it's just been like an adventure. We've just had so much fun because we ended up relocating back to New York City because my husband's job is here. And it just meant like a homecoming for me. So I got to come back to my home base and start this brand new chapter.
I love that. Did you know that this is what you wanted? Like, did you ever think, okay, I do want the wedding, or I do want all of this? Or were you like, you know what, none of that stuff matters anymore. I found this person. I want to just elope.
Since I had been a model on the cover of all these bridal magazines, like I'd worn thousands of wedding dresses.
And you have thousands of wedding photos with random guys as a model.
Random guys on covers and in ads and commercials. So I'd been a bride 1,000 times.
Yeah, no, you literally
said. Like I've had the wedding day for 12-hour days of shooting on locations in Miami and all over the place that I'm like, I did it enough that like by the time I got to just like wear my running clothes and get like sign some papers, it felt like this is exactly what I want to be doing. So
I love that for you because you probably have worn every single wedding dress.
Yes.
You've done all the wedding poses.
I have. Yes. Everything.
And this time around it's more authentic.
Definitely. And I think that was another thing is that there was no, my whole life has been in front of a camera of people like picking me apart and looking, oh, does she look like this? Or should she look like this? Let's fix her hair. Let's fix her makeup. And I got to just be me. So that was the best part.
I really love that for you because I feel like, sometimes doing things off camera might be nicer than having the world know about it. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like, you posted about on Instagram that you got married and stuff, but like you didn't make it like a huge thing.
No.
So you kept that private.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who is super public, you have a podcast, you have social media, you've been the model, all that. What do you keep private in your life and what do you share with the world?
I think the things that I keep private are the things between my husband and I that don't need to be broadcasted. Like struggles, anything that's struggled like in my life, like if I'm going through a challenge, like, I'm worried about something like a bill that needs to be paid, like things like that, like I just keep to myself. But I think what I put out there is usually something that's more of like, I always try to keep things positive and upbeat and inspiring. So like, there's always a time and a place to share some of the things that are darker and heavier, maybe things from my past, from like the model days. But yeah, it kind of just depends. But I always try to respect my husband's privacy because he's not a social media person. And he like, when I met him, Instagram is not his second nature. Whereas for me, it's like something that I always thought like, oh, post this, post that. But so it's kind of like this fine line, this balance between the two.
But that's good for you. I feel like if you were with somebody who was like Mr. Social Media, it would drive you crazy because then you'd feel like you had to always be on. And
I know. And I've been there, done that with past relationships where it was just like, having somebody who just does not care about social media is so liberating.
It makes you care more. I know Adam deleted Instagram. Someone was like, did you see what I posted? He's like, I don't know anything about your Instagram life. I only care about the real life.
Yeah, the real you.
I'm like, well, what's the real life without the Instagram?
I know.
But you have to strip it down. Another topic that we had talked about in my short running days with you was friendship and often feeling left out and us often wondering, what's wrong with me and friendship groups. So I want to get to this caller question today because it taps into a lot of the things that I think both of us have experienced and gone through. Hi, Jen and Lucie. I'm Casey from Portland, and there's something fundamentally wrong with me as a person. I just found out that my best friend Emma is getting married, and she asked literally everybody to be a bridesmaid except me. This happened 6 months ago, and I just feel really bad about it. I feel like everyone is always getting asked to do things, to go on vacations, trips, even go to brunch together, and nobody ever asks me. I'm constantly the girl who gets left out. I'm the one who gets forgotten about. I feel like everyone is always together, and no one invites me anywhere. I wish I would be included more. This keeps happening to me, and I'm starting to think that there's something wrong with me, and I'm not sure what it is. Can you please help me? Because I just don't like this feeling of being left out. Sigh.
Yeah, same girl.
Yeah,
same.
tell me more.
I listen to this and I just think I feel like I've been in this situation so many times. Not this exact situation, but like I've been the girl that's been left on the sidelines. I've been the girl that hasn't been picked to be in the cool kids club, or people don't want to sit next to at the lunch table. And you've been that person too.
I remember like I was with you and I was like, look, this is a picture of my friend group. It's 3 people and they're all hanging out and I wasn't invited. And they know that I'm free. They know that I would have loved to go. Why was I not invited? And you were like, the same thing happened to me. This is my friend group. They're all at this party. I wasn't invited. And we're both trying to figure out what is wrong with us.
Yeah.
What is wrong with all of us? Like, what is wrong with, like, why is this happening?
Sometimes I think about it like as I've gotten older and wiser, because when that happened, this was a couple years ago. I remember this instance where a group of girls were hanging out together and I thought that these were my close friends. And I was like, well, why am I not invited? And I actually ended up sending a message to one of the girls and I was like, just wondering, I've noticed a theme of these hangouts and I'm not included. And I was just wondering why, or can I be included? Maybe and when I look back at that moment, I'm really proud of myself that I actually spoke up and asked.
Is it scary?
It was definitely scary. And I think that it didn't suddenly make it so that those people included me. It just helped them see that I'm noticing this. And like, it kind of just like felt like I was standing up for myself of like, hey, this feels kind of messed up. And so something I would say to the person who called in would be like, say something.
Yeah.
Just ask. And like, you know what? Maybe this person isn't your friend and rejection is the best protection because maybe you don't want to be part of this if they're not actually your real friend deep down. But it is worth just bringing it up with them. Like, I would confront them.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't know the reason why. There's so many reasons why. I remember we were talking about it and I was like, well, Lucie, maybe they think you're busy because like, according to your social media, you're always doing so many cool things that if I was your friend or I was like a loosely acquainted friend to you, I'd be like, well, I'm not going to invite Lucie because Lucie's always doing something else. So like maybe they think you're busy. Number 2, maybe they're intimidated by you. You know, like you look at someone's social media again and you're like, oh, this person seems really awesome. Like maybe they don't want to hang out with me. I'm not going to invite them. Or 3, maybe they just don't feel like the friendship is there with you. And that really hurts, but not everybody wants to be your friend.
Right.
That is like the most painful of all of them. I mean, when you asked your friends, like, why am I not invited? What did they say?
So the thing that it was really helpful to get clarity because when I actually confronted and asked them why I wasn't invited, they were like, well, Lucie, you don't drink alcohol. Like I had posted, you know, they used to be something I would post on my Instagram a lot would be that I'm sober.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you don't drink alcohol and there's a lot of alcohol around when we hang out. And so then I had a chance to respond and say, oh, actually, like I'm okay being around alcohol. So then that it just becomes more of a conversation of like, you know, I can hang. Like
But isn't that crazy though, not to invite you because you're sober and there's alcohol?
It says a lot. Yeah.
No, but like that is like crazy because they could say like, Lucie, we're having this party. There is going to be alcohol there. Would still love you to come if you're comfortable rather than just like, we're never inviting Lucie.
I agree. And I think that luckily the times are changing and shifting that a lot of people don't drink. It's becoming very common to not drink for all kinds of different reasons.
Yeah.
And so for me in that moment, it was hard, but then it kind of made me think, you know what, this might not be a room that I'm invited to, but I want to find the room where I am and I am welcomed and people want to hang. And that's not an issue whether I want to drink an alcoholic substance or not. Because who wants to be around people who only want to be around that? You know, that says a lot as well.
Yeah. I'm going through it now because making friends as a mom is really hard. It brings you back to elementary school when you're like in your girl groups. Like these moms have formed their friendships and they will not let you in. And I see the same group of like 3 or 4 moms literally every day. Everywhere I go, I have tried everything to infiltrate this group. I've worn my fanciest outfits. I've done my makeup. I try to like say a cool, I rehearse my jokes, Lucie. I have Adam come to like back me up. I'm like, let me in this group and I can't get in the group.
I feel you. I'm not a mom, but I totally feel you because it's like this with the running community with me. I feel like there are cool girl runners that I'm like always on the outskirts like, hey guys, like ask me to come run with you and never. So it's the same kind of thing except for just no kids involved. But I completely understand. But I feel like it's just like, people are just so set in their ways. It might even be something as simple as it's just not their habit to reach out and start a new friendship. Because as we're getting older, I feel like that's one of the hardest things, is making new long-lasting friends.
So true. You know, this like is something that keeps me up at night, and I started to remember, okay, they've built their little group. When you're in a group, you don't open the door for other people. It's just not what we do. And I was thinking about, okay, like I have some groups of my own that I can kind of tell people want to enter, and I'm not always like, come join the group
100%,
either.
yes.
Like we are kind of protective of our friend group. So I think if you're on the outside of a friend group, there is like a weird dynamic there that doesn't necessarily have to involve you, because I think about this situation with myself. I'm like, these women don't actually know me other than my name and a few other random things about me. They don't know my social media. They don't know my last name. So they don't know anything about me. So they can't not like me unless they're not liking me based on how I look, right? So the truth is, there might be just other weird dynamics, or honestly, they might not realize I'm so desperate to be in the friend group.
Exactly. They're not even thinking about it. They might even know that that's what you're hoping. Putting myself in your shoes, I think that way with the runners that I mentioned, where I'm like, oh, like, you know, I'm never included in these things, but they're probably not even thinking that it's like that this girl, me, is trying to be in the friend group. But then I've also noticed there's just like a history. Like some of these girls, they've been friends for years and years and years. And it's just like you're saying, it's not so easy for someone to just let you into the group.
Yeah.
But it is hard to not feel left out. Because, you know, I'm constantly like looking at different things I see on social media and feeling it and thinking, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I not part of this? But at the same time, that makes me just gravitate more towards the relationships that do matter. And I don't know about you, but like, when you have a few solid friends, like I don't know how many close friends you could say you have, those are the people that I like really rely on heavily. I'm like, okay, I've got you, and you that I can call no matter what. And that's more important to me. So like trying to hold on to that and like really like think about the friends that you do have, even though it's not as fun to feel like you're not part of the cool group.
No, it's so true. And I think my rule is like, try once or twice, but like the trying has to be very blunt, because like Adam will be like, well, do you ever ask them to hang out? I'm like, of course not. Like I'm just sitting here hoping that they come to me.
That terrifies me. Yeah.
Like, do I ever approach them? No, I just sit there smiling and like listening to their conversation. So like I think you have to try twice, really bluntly try twice. Maybe you set up the plans, maybe you book the brunch, like you have to try twice. And if it fails, or you're sensing pushback, or it's awkward, you got to go. Because like you said, there's other people, other places who want you. I don't think there's anything wrong with, I mean, of course there's things wrong with us. Like, duh, we're not perfect. Like the list goes on, but that doesn't mean you're not lovable for those things.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're not going to have friends who are going to appreciate those things about you.
Yes.
And that's who you have to go to. So I think it's two things. Like number one, are you actually making an effort? Like maybe these people don't know how badly you want to be in their group. If you are making that effort and they don't want you in, you have to walk away.
Yeah, and I think that like that principle that people apply towards dating and relationships of attracting, not chasing. That's something too that I think helps me with the friendship stuff, because I'm like, you know what? I'm on my path. I'm doing my thing. You know, every day looks like this, and the right people that are going to fit into that lifestyle are like going to come into my life and hang out with me. Like it's going to make sense for us to be friends. And I think about the closest friends I've ever formed. It's like that we had like without trying too hard, an automatic bond where we could just like, you know, run together at the right time of day and go to dinner together just because we're on the same wavelength. So you can't totally force it.
Yeah, you know how they say, like, did you feel this when you met your husband? Like when you meet the right person, it's easy.
Yes, it's like going home. That's how I felt. I felt like when I met Hamid, I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to go home.
Yeah.
Like inside of with a person.
It should feel easy. And I think the same thing is true with friendships, because it feels easy because both people want to be there. We always have these like dynamics where we meet someone, we're like, I want to be their friend so bad, but you don't feel that energy towards you. And it's not easy. And I think you have to kind of think, okay, relationships in your life, I do believe, should be easy at first.
Definitely.
First.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that it goes back to that like social parasite thing where like certain friendships where if you feel like you're putting too much energy into it and it's leaving you drained, just like a relationship with like a romantic partner, if they're leaving you drained, that's not the right compatible match.
Yeah. Have you ever had a friend break up with you?
Oh my gosh. It's so funny you're bringing this up because like, Definitely. I had like a horrible friend breakup earlier this summer, like a couple months ago, so in the spring. And it was worse than any real breakup.
Oh, it's horrible. Did they say it to you? I don't want to be your friend.
Well, I kind of think I was the one who broke up with them. But basically what happened was I was moving into the new apartment, and I was just like really frazzled and like upset, and I needed help, and my husband was in Texas and I was here, and I was trying to get, and my friend just was giving me just like this, it was a cumulative snowball effect, but it just felt like everything I was doing, they were just telling me not to complain, or like, and they were also completely absent from like the hard stuff. And I'm like, this is the moment. I said point blank, I was like, this is the moment when I need a friend. I need a friend to just get in the Uber with me and take a suitcase up some stairs. And then that was it. That was the last time we talked. But we're longtime friends. We were friends for over a decade, and that was just like the last thing.
Was there build up to it?
Yeah.
Or was it falling apart before this?
It was falling apart before, because I just noticed that it was one of those things that it wasn't like a two-way street. Like, if you vent to a friend and you feel like you're in a judgment-free zone where you're like, I'm venting about a stupid thing that I don't actually, like, I'm just saying it because I can say it to you because I trust you. I felt like with this friend, it was starting to be kind of like keeping tabs of like, it seems like everything in your life is whatever. And like, wait a minute, like, I just felt like there was a little bit more judgment when I would just vent about normal things. So at the same time, I'm sure if I check myself and I'm like, okay, was I being out of line? There were enough instances on my end that I thought, you know what, this isn't healthy for me anymore, because I feel like I'm getting to this point where I'm just feeling bad for just, being myself. So,
which you shouldn't have to be. And I think like friendships can pause. I think friendships can come back to maybe this person will come back in your life in a different form.
Yeah, it was definitely really traumatic. And I remember talking to my husband, I was like, this feels like it's worse than like a breakup, because it's just someone who knows you so well through all the different phases of your life. But have you had a friend breakup?
It's the most devastating thing that's ever happened to me. I had a best friend break up with me out of nowhere, completely blindsided. She asked me to meet her on 5th Avenue and 22nd Street, and I did. And she looked me in the eye and said, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And meanwhile, I was engaged. I thought she would be my maid of honor. Like, this was like my best friend for many years. And I said to her, tell me why. I'll do anything to fix it. What did I do? I will do anything to fix this. She's like, I don't have a reason. I just don't want to be your friend. And she walked away. And I never talked to her again.
Wow.
And I have seen her in passing at a wedding. And then I saw her randomly on the street one day. And we had like a little small talk and walked our separate ways. It hurt me more than anything has ever hurt me in my life. I've had boyfriends break up with me where I was like, I'm never going to be okay again. This hurt me like 1,000 times worse than that, because like you said, this was my person. This was like my girl. We knew everything about each other. I don't know for the life of me this is also what was bad, is I don't know what happened. So like not knowing, if she was like, Jen, I don't want to be your friend anymore because of this, this, and this. Yeah. It would have been easier for me to be like, okay.
Right.
But I don't know what I did.
Oh, that's so devastating. So yeah, like it's just like you just replay in your mind all the different things you could have possibly said or done.
For a good 2 years, every single night before bed, I replayed our whole friendship. I replayed everything I said. And then I went to therapy, and the therapist is like, you will never, ever find out. So like, just let it go. Yeah. And this happened like many years ago. And when I saw her recently, I actually saw her in December, randomly on the street. I was in shock. My body was in shock. I walked away from that like small talk conversation, and I felt good. I felt closure. I felt so many years have gone by. I have become a mom since then. My whole life has changed since then. I'm ready to let this go.
Interesting.
I'm ready to realize like this person left your life for whatever reason, but that's okay. They're allowed to.
Something that makes me think of, how, so your life had to turn for the better. Like you got married, you had a kid, you have this like wonderful big life. Sometimes, I don't know specifically if this could be what happened with your friend, but sometimes when our lives get so big and full, it kind of pushes out the people that maybe were going to bring it down. And I know with my friend breakup, I think the healthier and happier I got of like finding my person and, improving my sobriety journey and running, like improving as an athlete, maybe even just having a healthier relationship with running than I had in the past. the more distance I got from my old self, maybe that made my friend not want to be friends with the new version of me. So maybe it's just we become different people as we get older, and then that just kind of like repels the people who wanted to be with the older, less amazing versions of ourselves.
It is 1,000% true. I mean, think how often we change. And this is what they say about people who get married really young is like you change so much from your 20s to your 40s, let's say. Sometimes the partner can't roll with you. But with the relationship, I think, you know, we are changing so much and our partner is with us every second of the day. So they see those changes, they absorb it, but our friends often don't. And I think you're right. I think big life changes can really push people away. I mean, having kids pushes so many people away because they're like, I don't know how to keep that friendship going. I think you're so right. But the silver lining of what happened to me, maybe this happened to you, it taught me to be a better friend. I have, ever since that happened, this was like 2018, I became a completely different type of friend to people because I never wanted something like this to happen again if I could control it. So I became just different with how I approached friendships, and I have very few but very good friends, and I love them as if we're family. Like I just completely shifted how I approached friendship. So it was almost a blessing because after that happened, I was able to get closer with people because I was like, you know what, maybe my theory was maybe it happened because my world was changing fast. Maybe it also happened because I'm a closed off person. I lied. Like I won't tell people what's going on in my life. I feel like maybe you're like this a little bit too.
Yeah. There's actually something going on.
Yeah. So people can't, it's hard to get to know me. So I was like, never again with all my friends. This is who I am. This is what's happening in my life. Like I never want these things to happen. Do you think your breakup made you approach friendship different?
Definitely. I know that it made me want to be there for other people whenever they have a struggle because I knew what it felt like. I was like, oh wow, like it's such a shame when you just feel like you don't have anyone to call. Like that's such a terrible feeling when you're just like freaking out and you're just like, I just need someone to tell me it's going to be okay and just be there to babysit me for a second. And so with a few of my other close friends, I feel like we've actually really strengthened our bond where, you know, someone can call me at any time and know that I'm like, drop everything, I'm available. And it's even strengthened my relationship with my sister. Like my sister is one of my best friends. And so like, I feel like that like fostering a relationship with my sister that I never really had before and having her turn into one of my friends, that's been another silver lining of losing this other friend.
What advice do you have for people who are going through friendship breakups?
Friendship breakups. Well, I think it's really important to process it the exact same way you would a real breakup with the no contact, don't stalk the social media, don't try to run into them at the places you guys both frequent.
Who would do such a thing?
Because I know with my friend breakup, we used to always walk in Prospect Park, and I was like, I can't do this on a Saturday because I know I'm going to see her. But like going through the motions of like grieving it and accepting it, and you know, there's the seven layers of the thing with like anger. Because I've had moments where I just get so angry. Yeah. But like sitting in that emotion, and also talk to your therapist about it, because I had to talk to my therapist and my husband and my other friends. I've told everyone who's close to me knows about this, and we all process it together. Yeah,
that helps though, because then you get their perspective and you feel like you're grieving it in real time, which I think is so, so, so important. As somebody who's also been left out too, what advice would you give our caller who just feels like she cannot get in these friend groups?
I would do the thing. Well, you mentioned approaching twice. I think that's definitely like an important thing to do, but then also confronting and communicating. Like communication is the answer to a lot of things in this world. So communicating that you're trying, because sometimes it just takes someone like realizing, like the other person, like somebody else maybe they are so oblivious to what is happening that they just need to have the message like loud and clear in front of them.
It's so true. And I don't know if you feel this, but as somebody who's constantly left out, I try really hard to approach social situations, especially parties. Like right now I'm going to a ton of toddler birthday parties where sometimes I know all the moms, sometimes I don't. And if I go to a party where I know most people, I always try to talk to people who don't know anybody, because I know that feeling of showing up to a birthday party or showing up anywhere and being completely left out. Yes. So it makes me hyper aware of like, okay, who can I go to here that might feel left out? And again, I'm guilty of this. Like I have my friend groups and it's really hard to infiltrate that. Like we're not going to just let you in, but like I try really hard to be like, okay, I know this person wants to hang out with us. Let me include them, because when you know what it feels like, you don't want anyone else to feel that way. It's painful.
Yeah. And sometimes it's also like there's an acceptance to it that I found for myself, because like to this day, I always feel like I've been the lone wolf, and accepting it. Like I'm different and maybe I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and like that's okay. And so like it's just something that like you don't have to fit in with everybody. And especially if you have a big life and you have a lot of big things going on, that comes with the territory. So sometimes being the lone wolf is an awesome thing, and like lean into it.
It's like so interesting, because I feel like who wouldn't want to be friends with someone who is different?
I know. Well, we think this way, but we're not like most people.
So
like that's.
I look at you, I'm like, Lucie would be so fun to be friends with, because you are different. Like you don't say the same things as other people. You don't do the same things as other people. That's cool. There's something great about that, you know? I think one of the biggest flaws we all have, and again, guilty, is our friends are like copycats of us. Like we're the same as our friends. We dress often the same as our friends. We like the same things as our friends. Of course we do. But then it limits our perspective. It limits who we surround ourselves with. Like, definitely. I think a fun goal is to have friends who are so completely different from you.
Yes. I think it's really important to just change your perspective constantly. And I think that most of my friends are wildly different from each other and from me. And that's just kind of how it's happened. It's a lot of my friends happen to be outcasts in their own right as well. So it's like, just like we attract each other. But yeah, it's just like, it kind of just comes with the territory of being different. But yeah.
Which I love. After so many years of trying to like dull myself down, be like everybody else, I think at this part of my 30s, I'm like, no, this is who I am. This is how I want to be. And I don't know about you, but like, I don't need 1,000 friends. I don't have time for 1,000 friends right now. So I'm not trying to make so many friends. I'm trying to have the friendships I have be really strong. So even though this mom group is driving me crazy and I want to be in it, I have to remember like, that's just not how life works.
Yeah.
And be grateful for the people that you do have in your life. And if they're not letting you in, find other people. There's so many other people that will accept you for who you are.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I think that like an interesting thing too for me has been work, like finding friendships, because it's like people that I wouldn't have necessarily, like I work on photo studios a lot, and I work assisting in various ways on sets, and you're spending so many hours rubbing shoulders with these people that naturally friendships form just because we're spending so much time together, that maybe in the very beginning it's like, oh, I don't really have so much in common with this person. But then by the end of a week of working 10-hour days, we feel like best friends, because we've just like shared a common goal of getting this thing done to shoot. So I think like having friendships form by working on a project together, whether it's like your actual job or something that you're, you know, a hobby that you have, like, you know, taking a music class or going and trying to like learn how to do something new, you can find friendships on the go, or like in that process of trying to make something.
I think you need that. Like, I think to make a new friend, you have to have something in common, and something active in common with them is really, really helpful. I met this woman in my building just in passing, and it would be great to be her friend. But the truth is, like, I don't have time to go out with her. I don't have time to do all those things.
I know what you mean.
But one thing we have in common is that every night at 8, we go to the gym and we just go on the elliptical together.
Nice.
And because of that, we have been able to expand this friendship and get to know each other, because we have that one thing that's active in common. If we just had in common that we both had dogs, I don't know if the friendship would take off, because there's nothing that we could really do together.
Right. Yeah.
So I think if you're trying to make friends, finding something that's in common that also is active, gets you in motion, whether it's like you both love to paint at a painting class or whatever it is, helps strengthen the friendship fast.
Definitely. My producer for my podcast became my friend because we were spending so much time together, and having that like beginning, middle, and end of an episode. And then, you know, we have a little routine where we like sit down, talk, the guest shows up, and then at the end we go get dinner, and it just becomes like a thing. And then suddenly we're really great friends because we just happen to be around each other and have that thing to work on.
It's crazy because I feel like you can make friends in places you never thought. Like, did you ever think you'd become friends with your podcast producer? No. Yeah, because like you didn't know this person.
No.
This person could be wildly different from
Yes.
you. Like you never know. So if someone doesn't accept you, there's other people out there who will adore you for who you are. You just have to find them.
Yes.
If people want to be your friend, Lucie, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me on Instagram. I'm at Lucie Beatrix, LucieBeatrix. And yeah, that's probably the best way to find me.
And you have a podcast too.
And I have a podcast, the Lucie Beatrix Podcast, which is on all the platforms. So yes.
Yay. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to 1-800-Bridesmaid. And I hope this caller's story gave you something to think about. Have a wedding dilemma or relationship question? Submit your story on 1-800-Bridesmaid.com. Find more 1-800-Bridesmaid episodes wherever you get your podcasts and watch the full episodes on YouTube. For behind-the-scenes content and daily advice, follow Bridesmaid for Hire and Love Stories by Davids on Instagram and TikTok. If you enjoyed these stories, check out my book, Finally the Bride by Jen Glantz on Amazon. And remember, sometimes the best advice comes from strangers we meet along the way. Until next time, this is your professional bridesmaid signing off.